There is a very famous scene in Book 5 of Harry Potter where they're talking about Cho Chang and her emotions, and Hermione goes into this very intricate detail of exactly all these things that are going through Cho Chang's head when she's kissing Harry and why she's crying. And Ron responds and he says, how could all these emotions possibly be going through one person's head at once? They'd have to explode. Um, this is a very good example of how a lot of things happen in a person's head that they don't necessarily say. I'm going to go into this game, and it's a psychological look of what's going on. So let's look at the team right now. We have me on jungler. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm tired, and Alistar is a very strong ganker, and I'm not sure if I can out-jungle him because, I mean, Udyr's great at ganking, but he doesn't have the ridiculous CC power of Alistar. Celery Goblin up here is a high elo player. He's like 1750 or so. He's used to winning his lane. Usually he does win his lane. When he doesn't win his lane, he gets a little pissy, and I mean, it's just natural for a laner to get a little pissy and want to say, why aren't you helping me more? That happens a lot in solo queue especially. And so, if he ends up having trouble, he's gonna get a little upset with me. I mean, he doesn't outright rage at me, but he will, suggest that I should be helping him. Ryze here is, I'm not sure, I think he might be a little concerned about whether he can beat Annie mid. He did just beat her in another game, but it was a really bad Annie. And so he might not be entirely sure about himself. Taric down here, well actually let's get into Draven first. Draven is a level 23 or 24. He's new to the game. He doesn't understand the intricacies of last hits and everything. And he loses his lane. Like every game we play, he loses his lane. And Harless here on Taric has been laning with him all night long, and she has a very good attitude about it, but if I had to guess, I'd say she's probably getting a little tired of it, but I could be wrong. Anyway, we just saw Alistar go through here into my jungle. He didn't think he got seen. He's being bold enough to go in here and try and steal my wraiths. If I had to guess, I'd say this Alistar is very confident in his jungle abilities and very confident he can out-jungle me. Like, he didn't expect to meet any resistance here at all. And if he did meet resistance, he expected to defeat it, and he almost did. He almost got Ryze. But meanwhile, because I saw Alistar there, I was very confident that I could take everything here. Now notice Alistar is going into his jungle right now. He probably knows that I'm there. I got his Wraith and his Red, which is much more than what he got. But Garen knows I'm here, and so he's coming to help. He's trying to catch me, just like we caught Alistar. And so Alistar is reacting by doing the same thing that I just set up a gank down here by telling Harless to go help. And and so Alistar thought he could do the same to me. Meanwhile, Annie has an advantage on Ryze because of the early damage she did to him. And so Ryze is probably a little bit more nervous now. I'm pretty confident now because I basically out-jungled Alistar. He didn't get to gank bottom because Harless thwarted right away, and she caught him. And she also caught him here, which put him behind. I'm very far ahead of him right now. I'm level 3. He's probably level 2, maybe almost level 3, but I'm almost level 4. Rumble right now is kind of getting a little bit stomped by Garen, because Garen will do that to Rumble. But I'm confident that he can get it back. A little concerned, but I know he's a good player, and I know he'll be alright. But I tried ganking up there, and of course Garen saw me in this bush. So I immediately believed that Garen knew what he was doing. By the way, I don't have music playing because I don't want to get distracted by the songs, and I always get distracted by the songs. Anyway, Janna Urgot down here. Urgot is a pretty good player. He immediately realizes that this guy is not very good, and he takes advantage of it like hardcore. And I haven't ganked bottom yet. I should have, but I didn't. They have a ward here. Harless has informed me of that. I'm a little concerned about my ability to get anybody down here. And I don't like to waste my time on jungle. If it's warded and they see me, I don't like to follow up on a gank. And that's a big weakness in me. Okay? Like, I can't gank now because I have 3 bars, so I have to go back first. So I'm going to farm a little bit here, and then I'm going to go back. Meanwhile, Alistar just ganked Ryze. Alistar's probably getting a little annoyed now because he is a gank jungler. There is a sort of a triangle of jungling. Gankers beat farmers. Invaders beat gankers. And farmers beat invaders. Because if you're constantly farming, they try to invade you and nothing's there. If you're constantly ganking, they invade you and you have no way to get experience. If you're constantly farming, your lanes are getting pissed because they're getting ganked and you aren't ganking. So does that make any sense? I'm doing a lot of farming and a lot of invading, but not a lot of ganking. And if Alistar's ganks had been working, I would be getting beaten right now. But they aren't working, and so I am very much in the lead, and I know it. I absolutely know it. I already have my Philostone. Alistar does not. He goes back, he gets the parts of the Philostone, but he doesn't get the whole thing. Alistar went boots first because he was expecting an easy gank at level 2. That's what Alistars do. They expect an easy gank at level 2. Remember, this bush is warded, this one is not. So there goes Taric stun. I didn't expect him to stun there, but it's a great initiate. And I noticed my Phoenix Brock is going to get it there. Boom. I'm very happy I got first blood because I know Draven wouldn't be able to use it very well. Because, I mean, he's a nice guy. I did not want to rage at him. That was another thing going on in my mind right now. I knew that it was going to be an uphill battle. I knew I was going to get very annoyed, but I didn't want to rage because he's a good guy, and he's a friend of Harless, who is my friend. And so I was being very careful not to get too upset no matter what happened. And so here at 6:45, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to take this. Who just died? Oh, he got another kill down here. Urgot. Which is great. Now they're in the lead, and I figure he might actually be alright down here. That is not good. Now I don't have any backup here. That is really not good, because now Celery's a little pissy. He does, Garen counters hard. I warded there and not here because I wanted to see Alistar coming in. I'll be in the bush so I know that Alistar's here. Now this is the most awkward thing ever, because I'm afraid that he's coming and I stopped doing it at one point. I'm very paranoid because there's Annie's Tibbers. If I'd just gone ahead and done it here, I would have gotten it easy. But I didn't, and so now I'm out of mana. And I bared because I'm an idiot. So now I'm really panicking. I know Annie's right here somewhere. I haven't seen her come up this way, so I know she's right here. And so I am just really freaking out here. My mind is not in the right place. I just barely get that sucker. And now I'm getting tossed around. I just barely get away with the turtle shell here. And then I make a stupid decision, because I think maybe I can get him. I go back in. Annie's right there, as I knew she was. I knew she was there. But I just lost my blue buff to Alistar. It's better than Annie. We got a Janna for it. It's a fair trade right now, so far. But Ryze is in trouble now, and if Annie gets ahead of Ryze, that's... when Annie gets ahead of someone, it's hard to come back. So we just got a 2-for-1 trade, and they got their blue back. 3-for-1 trade. So, very quickly, we went from being in control of the game to basically giving it to them for now. And so, Draven's a little upset. I'm extremely upset with myself. And Grumble up here is, he hasn't said too much yet. He doesn't say anything unless he's in trouble. Like, I asked him once if he wanted a gank, he said I don't need a gank. And so I didn't gank for him. And so much later, when he gets ganked and he says, I needed a gank. What were you doing? Oh, here's Alistar. Okay. Alistar thinks he's in charge. He thinks he got me, so he's still the better jungler. And so, like, here, I'm just stalling the crap out of him, just wasting time, and doing everything I can to keep him there, and there we get a kill. And so now Alistar, he hasn't quite processed it yet that I countered him. I knew he was going to be there. That was not chance that I was there when he was there. I knew very well what he was doing. Someone who fancies himself a good jungler, after you steal their blue, if they kill you, they're going to go straight for your blue. Sometimes even if they don't kill you, they'll go straight for your blue. So now we have the game a little bit more under control. Rumble has a kill on Garen now, which is good. So it's 1-1. And we just completely defended our blue buff. More importantly, the gold went to Ryze and Rumble and me, and not to Draven down here. And we don't want Draven to have gold. I mean, if there's gold to be had for him, fine. But I'm not going to give this lane much attention because he's probably not going to know what to do in a fight, and Urgot gets way ahead of him. Maybe that's not the best decision on my part, but when I have a really weak lane, like really, really weak, I try to shore it up by making every other lane stronger. Because if there's no chance, no matter what I do, that they're going to win that lane, I want to win every other lane. And so that's why I don't go bottom very much. That's another thing going on in my mind. And also, when I start to lose a game, I get way too passive sometimes, especially when I'm tired, and I just don't gank, I just farm. But I'm trying to avoid doing that here. Notice I keep going into his jungle, poking him away, and trying to assert the fact that I'm superior. Because this whole blue thing was chancy. He might have gotten the lead somehow. And I don't even want him to take those chances. I want him to be passive. I want him to be the guy that's afraid to gank, afraid to invade, and afraid to farm. I want him to just sit there in his jungle and farm slow as hell because he's Alistar. But he's not doing that. He keeps fighting back. And so you've got two very high status, very dominant junglers here that are trying to assert their superiority over each other. Right now, I have 2 gold per 10s and Alistar has 1.5. Unfortunately for him, that half is giving him no gold. So, in addition to farming way faster than him, Draven has 24 to Urgot's 55, which is sad. I have 46 to Alistar's 23, which is very good. And I have 2 gold per 10s to his 1 right now. See, he's getting camped up here. Celery's getting camped. He hasn't said so, though. And, I mean, we're in Skype and everything. So, if he just said, I'm getting camped, you know, before the death, like, see, there's Alistar coming back. Like, if he'd said Alistar's up here, I didn't even see that. I should have maybe, but I didn't. And so, he's in a lot of trouble here, and he's probably going to end up dying. And, yeah, I think this is the point at which he gets a little bit upset with me. Annie just killed Ryze. Yeah, this is the point where I'm just like, oh crap, what do I do? I've gotten oracles. Because they're warding. I know they're warding. And because I just saw them lay down a ward here. And so now Celery's a little bit upset with me. Maybe for good reason. I haven't been ganking very much. I've just been kind of controlling, trying to keep Alistar at bay, make him passive, and get ahead of him. Because, okay, I'm also very aware that their late game is nothing. They have Garen, weak late game. They have Urgot, weak late game. They have Annie, easily killed. See, there I just took, that was just put up, and the ward here was just put up. So, that's 150 gold right there. That's 100 gold right there. That's 250. I've already made 250 gold off this. Because the 125 for the pink, and the 25 to me, and so on for the other ward. And so I know that this, even if I die right now, I will have gotten pretty good use out of this. I mean, not as much as I'd like to, but I am not planning on dying for a while anyway, so it's okay. Where did I die? Oh yeah, I died right here because I was an idiot. And so, now I want to go up there and gank Garen. And first I want to... Okay, yeah, there's Draven dying again. It's just standard. He's going to die. And so, now I'm coming up to kill Garen. But, once again, I get seen and he backs off, and so I back off. And I probably should have just gone for him, but I'm like, don't go. Because look at Rumble's HP. That's why I didn't go. And he got kind of upset with me here for not going in, but he would have gotten killed. I mean, it was a lose-lose situation for me, psychologically. Either he was going to get pissed at me, or he was going to get pissed at me, and so he got pissed at me. And there's Alistar. We had no chance at that gank whatsoever. So it's a very good thing I backed off, or we probably would have gotten double killed. There's Ryze, but there's also Annie. She just missed her bear. And so, I mean, these guys are very, very good at, you know, following up on things. But skill-wise, with their champion, they're not necessarily the greatest. They're communicating very well for a team right now. And they're always there. Like, and that could potentially really wreck us. So there's Alistar. He knows my blue is up soon. I didn't even realize my blue was up soon. I just happened to find him there. Sure enough, there's the blue, and I'm freaking out because Celery's low HP. I'm not sure if we can defend it. He's like, let it go. Ryze is like, let it go. I'm like, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. My manhood is on the line here, because I don't want Alistar. I think he's a better jungler than I am. And so I want to play with it a little bit. And then I realized Celery actually has more HP than I thought. And so now, I am trying to use myself as bait because I have that oracles. And there's Ryze killing Annie. And Annie's out of the picture. We've already got one for zero. We're not going to get Alistar, I don't think. But, and there's Rise almost getting himself killed by Garen. I just want to get that blue buff, because if I get blue buff, then I have mana all of a sudden. There's Janna out of nowhere. She's like, I'm gonna roam. So now I gotta cancel my blue buff again, fight Garen a little bit, they back off again. And now I'm going back to my blue buff because I need the mana or I can't do anything. There's Janna using a terrible ult. Rise is in trouble, Rise is in so much trouble, but I can't help him because I have no mana. There, he got Janna. And so there's Garen trying to get him with the ulti. And so now I'm coming, I finally frickin' have mana. And so I am ready to help Rise, help him kill Garen. And sure enough, Rise manages to kill Garen without my help whatsoever. I don't think I even get an assist for that. Maybe I do. Oh, I did get an assist because of my Phoenix proc. So there you go. Like, if I hadn't gotten that blue buff, we wouldn't have gotten that kill probably. Because I wouldn't have had the mana for all that. And so now, once again, we are in the superior's position. I mean, everything that's happening bottom lane, we're just trying to ignore it. Because Urgot's building like an Urgot, which is sucky. He's great in the lane. But, honestly, I think Urgot has a better place. If you have an AP top, an AD bottom, Urgot is a great tanky DPS mid. He is an incredible bruiser, and he's a great tank initiator, you know, with his ult. And there's Annie bottom, because Annie follows up on things. It's free gold down there. So why wouldn't she go down there? So now I haven't helped bottom at all, and they're in this conundrum, like, this paradoxical situation where I don't want to come bottom because they're losing. They're losing because I don't want to come bottom. And Draven has commented on this. And I realize the duplicity in that, and I want to go bottom now, even though I know it's not a good idea. And so I'm kind of getting guilty into going bottom here a little bit. So, I mean look at all this is happening. And there's a ward up there. I missed it. But I want to go down here and get some more wards. I got a ward up there. That's, I didn't see how much was on it. This was just put down. That's 150 gold because it was just put down. And I don't know when this was put down. Let me see. Yeah, that was just put down. So that's 100 gold right there. My Oracle is now paid for itself. Easily. Like, the amount I've taken out of Janna's pocketbook is 2 pinks and 2 greens. So that right there is 150 plus, 150 plus, shoot, plus 250. That is 400. So, yeah, I have taken 400 gold out of Janna's pocket. It's like she bought an Oracle without actually doing anything with it. So think about that for a second. Now I'm finally ganking Garen. He doesn't have a ward because I already ate it and he was too dumb to put one up. So now Celery is finally getting that frickin' gank that he wanted. And sure enough, we're actually going to get a kill here. Beautiful. So now my inclination is to go in here. I see Annie coming, and so I'm like, I want some Annie action here. But she flashes away. If she had kept going, she would have died. So instead, I'm just going to take their wraiths because I can. But now I see Rise in trouble. Oh, there's Annie dead anyway. So now I want to kill Alistar, but I can't get to him. So I go back to stealing his wraiths and cementing my lead. Notice I really never stop doing something that is beneficial to my team. Either I'm farming, or I'm setting up a gank, or I'm always actively doing something. And I don't know what's going on in Alistar's mind. Maybe he's doing the same thing. Maybe he's always got a next step in mind. Or maybe not. If he had a next step in mind, he would have known that his red was going to be up soon. I knew that his red was going to be up soon, and sure enough, there it was. And so now Alistar is denied even more major money. Like, he's gonna get CS count. He's gonna get 3 CS right here for the race, maybe 2 or 1. I didn't remember how many I took. And it's gonna count as 1 CS, but that's 5 gold, right? This guy's 50 gold or something, maybe 60. That's I got 45 right there. And these 3 are 5. That's 3 CS. But I mean, how many of his CS count are those little creeps that are worth nothing? Like, okay, Alistar has 43. I'd say a good 20-25 of those are small creeps, maybe more. And he isn't getting a lot of the big creeps because I take them. And probably even more than 25 is big creeps, maybe even 30-35. Like, That's not a lot of gold. And now I'm finally setting up for this gank down here. Taric wonderfully initiating because she's a very good Taric. She's a very good support. There's Janet popping her, there, I got the stun off, even though she exhausted me. I am flashing in there because I am strong enough to tank, and I know it. And so there's Urgot wasting his ulti. I'm in big trouble here, and I don't want to lose my Oracle. And you know Alistar's got to be near. Oh no, Alistar just ganked mid. And so we just destroyed bottom, even though I said I could never kill bottom because they're too far ahead. So, notice how, if you ride off a lane, you're really only hurting yourself. We got to kill that Janna. They just completely dove Ryze, and Ryze didn't rage at me. Ryze has very good attitude. I'm pretty happy about that. I always apologize when somebody gets dove like that, but he's okay with it. But I'm getting more gold. Alistar has 2-1-2. I have 1-1-6. I've been involved in a lot more kills. He probably has. Now he's getting pissed at me again because he's getting camped 24/7. There's Garen. I don't want to fight Garen. I just want to keep Garen busy. I just want to waste Garen's time. And this, like, see right here, I can get Garen dead. And I am going to get Garen dead. Maybe, no, not. But guess where Annie is right now? Can anyone tell me where Annie is right now? I know where Annie is right now. And look at how well they follow up on things. Like, that's just brilliant. I had one comment on my guide that said that what did I say? That the psychology of the jungle guide is really more useful in solo queue. But I mean, just look at all the interesting things that are happening in this double pre-made game here. Like, they're a pre-made team, so they're not allowed to rage at each other. If they were, they'd probably be upset with Janna. She's getting her wards taken, her wards stolen. She's dying a lot, she's getting caught in bad positions, and she's constantly roaming and leaving Urgot alone. Alistar is probably a little bit upset because I don't know. It's very difficult to determine, like, they probably think they're winning right now, and they are. They're destroying Draven. Like, look at Draven's CS. He's completely stomped right now, 59 to 135. And don't think that's escaped my notice or anybody else's. We all realize this. We're all a little bit like, oh boy, when's the surrender coming, you know? We're just waiting for the surrender. But notice I'm getting good items. I've got my Faj and the Giant's Belt. I'm all got a Frozen Mallet. I've got, I always get the cheap boots whenever possible. Merc Treads I only get when it's a double AP team. Because cheap boots get me on my toes a lot faster. I move a lot faster, you know? And I like having that move boost for cheap. If I have to sell it and get Merc Treads later, I don't care. But for now, armor is good because I want to gank bottom, I want to gank top, and mid's okay too. And I was going to farm that all, but then I realized, oh, Celery will get so pissed at me if I farm that. I always ask Ryze if he wants the blue buff. I always do, and this time he said he didn't want it. He's kind of coming for it, but he's like, I don't really need it, so you take it if you want it. And I'm like, I need it, because I use a lot of mana. And so there's Annie top. They're just camping the crap out of Celery up here. And there's really nothing I can... Oh, he got away, he got away! Is she gonna flash? No. And so now, I thought Ryze was coming up here. He's not nearly as close as I thought he was. And so my job is to waste these guys' time until Ryze gets up here. Unfortunately, they didn't take the bait. Now, Alistar, his mindset is very interesting right now. He's got an Oracle. He's kind of copying everything I do. Like, I do something and so does he. There's two wards there, I don't know why. Meanwhile, I'm once again, I am baiting these guys so hard. I am saying, come on, try me. I'm just a bear. But Udyr with blue buff is like insane unkillable. Notice I dropped the ward in there because I want to be able to see him right away. And I'm probably going to die here. Yeah, I died. But Ryze got a kill. Ryze is probably going to get killed right here. Oh, I wish he'd run the other way because Rumble's coming up. But, oh man, the jukes. But Rumble's getting fed now. Rumble's maybe going to get him. Come on. Yeah, he's got him. I'd say that's a good trade. But that's because I know how good this guy is with Rumble. And Heartless is standing there like a pro. She's good at standing there. No, she's actually pretty good. At this point, I said, Draven, take my blue buff, or my double buff whenever, not double buff, my double golems whenever it's up, because you need the gold. And frankly, they're worth more gold than anything else in my jungle except the buffs. So Draven doesn't really have any items at all. Like Urgot here, he's almost got his Frozen Mallet done. He's got a Brutalizer, he's got 2 Doran's Blades, and he's got Mercury's Treads. He's unkillable almost. But he also does no damage. And that's the kicker. He does no damage. Their Celery just won his lane. Completely won his lane. I ganked, what, once or twice up there? And he won his lane. He's a good player. So even if he gets pissy sometimes, I can count on him to win his lane. The same goes with Ryze. Like, I know he's traded with Annie a lot. She's 4-3-5. He's 6-5-3. And so I'd say Ryze is in the lead because now Ryze has a Banshees, he has Catalyst. Annie can't really kill Ryze. And so now there's Rumble down here, doing some damage to Urgot. And now this tanky Urgot just got shut down by Draven. And it's alright, he's okay to get some gold. And there goes Janna, I got the gold, and I like getting the gold for kills. On Udyr, I love getting gold for kills. Because I can always put that gold to incredible use. There are really very few items on Udyr that do not straight up give him more offensive power in a fight. You get Shurelya's. You can run in there faster. You can really almost initiate with Udyr. You get Randuin's. You can slow them down like crazy, and it's like an AoE Frozen Mallet for a second there. Frozen Mallet gives damage. It gives a slow. With Send, it gives me a lot more attack speed, a lot more procs on my Phoenix stance. You see, everything you build on Udyr is basically offensive. And so that's why he's such a good champion. Now, I got this tower just because we could, because we needed the gold. Now Draven has won his lane. Look at that. His tower's still up. He just won his lane. Like, isn't that funny? So, never give up. Never surrender. What movie is that from, guys? So now Ryze is straight up killing Annie, because guess what? Ryze is the tankiest thing in the game right now. Well, probably tankier. Yeah, a bit. But he has good resist. And so, Janna is purpling this, or pinking, I guess. Purpling, huh? Oh boy. And so, like, they have the Oracle advantage here. Alistar has the Oracle, and that's pissing me off, because we can't really ward anything. And there's Garen showing up in a random place. Udyr's getting there. Yeah, I like to have wards, like, before I go into a bush, I like to ward it up, just because I want to have sight of that going in. I do not want to dick around in the bush for a few seconds while I wait to have sight. I want to have it while I'm going in, so I can shoot my skills in there while I go in. Like, one of the best things that will really make you a better jungler is if you carry a ward. So when you're rushing into a bush to get somebody, you can ward the bush and immediately have sight, alright? And their Alistar died. Their Kingpin here has died. He's the one that's kind of pushing them forward with that Oracle, just making it so we have no sight. And now, he just wasted 400 gold. Look at his build now. Look at his build. He has an Aegis defensive. He has these boots of mobility, not needed now because it's mid-game and we're all team fighting. He has 2 gold pretends, not really helping him that much with his stats. He has this Kindle Brim that he's getting ready for Shurelya with, but it's not built all the way. Udyr has the 2 gold pretends that are worth nothing. I have a Frozen Mallet, and I'm also getting ready to build a Shurelya's. So I have this big offensive defensive power that gives me a whole lot of everything I need. And there they are. We have sight because we have a ward there. See how important that ward is. And so now we're definitely going to get somebody here. I don't know who. I want to back out because I'm really concerned. I'm really scared. I think they're still in the lead. But unbeknownst to both them and myself, we are in the lead now. And so there goes Janna again. I am happy to take the tower. I have gotten my 3 kills, or my 3 deaths, so I'm not going to die anymore. And so now we are getting a good deal more confident. And I realize that a Baron is going to be coming up very soon. And so, I don't have any mana. I want to be ready for that. So I'm going back. Tarek's going back. We all realize Baron is coming soon. Except Draven, who doesn't realize it. But aside from that, everybody realizes that Baron is coming soon. And so, like, all these things going on in our minds here. Like, what lanes to push, you know, this bottom is starting to... Well, it's not really starting to push, but Draven thinks it is. So Draven's running bottom. But the rest of us are like, Baron, now. I didn't go back, actually, because I could get that blue buff, and I'd be just fine. So I decided not to go back. But everyone else did go back, and they all have their full HP, better items and stuff. Notice how Tarek has basically the same items as Alistar, only his boots are more useful. So our support has as much gold as their Alistar. Because Alistar didn't get those ganks that were so necessary to his early game. If he doesn't get those ganks, and he spends all this money on worthless boots, he really doesn't have any power, any staying power late in the game. That's really the problem with Alistar. Like, he's an initiator, and he's a counter-initiator, but if he's so squishy and so weak and so worthless, after he gets off his 2 CCs, there's no reason whatsoever to attack him. There's no reason at all to go after Alistar once his 2 skills are gone. Like, that's the big problem I have with Alistar. He can really mess up a team fight for 2 seconds, but then after everybody falls back on the ground, it's over. It's just in those 2 seconds that everyone's flying up in the air, you can do so much damage with your burst. So, I mean, Alistar is great for burst teams because he can knock them up in the air long enough that everyone gets nuked down. Udyr wants to do Baron. But more than do Baron, Udyr wants to go back, finally. Draven is going bottom. I guess we're not going to do Baron. But now Udyr has a Shurelya's, which is very important, and an attack speed item for Wit's End. Now look at them. They are all getting ready to go to Baron. Alistar has wasted another 400 gold on Oracles, and his items really have not changed since last time. I've gotten an upgrade. He has not. I mean, the Oracles are great, but no. And so I'm just clearing out... Ryze got an Oracle too. And now watch this, watch this. Who do I go for? I get knocked up. Who do I go for? Who do I go for, guys? Who is the most fed on the team? That's right, Annie. Urgot is very fed. Urgot is very fed, but Urgot has no damage. Garen is decently farmed, but Garen has no damage. Like, look at this, just complete cleanup. Because I took out the biggest threat first, alright?
Double kill.
That is how you carry a game by tanking. Like boom, and it's over there. They know it's over. At that point, they're like, there's nothing we can do, guys. So, I mean, notice how Alistar changed throughout the game. You know, and more importantly, notice how he didn't change, right? Like, he started out making these ballsy moves, trying to gauge my ability as a jungler. But the problem is, he didn't really accurately gauge it, alright? He got caught at the race. That was, right there, that was a red flag saying, this team knows what they're doing. This team is going to catch you if you go in. I didn't get that red flag when I went to the Golem, or the Lizard buff, and so I feel a lot more confident. But, and I, rightly so, honestly. But Alistar got that red flag, and he didn't listen to it. So at 7 minutes, I take his blue. That's another red flag. But I die with his blue, so immediately he thinks, I'm really not that good. He can beat me. And so he goes straight to my blue buff, and sure enough, I'm there. He should have backed out right there, but he thought he could beat me. He thought he could beat me again just like he did before. And so I ended up killing him. I killed Annie. I'm not sure if we got Garen or not. But, I mean, we got 2 kills there. And for nothing in return. The second blue buff, he should have known. He should have known I would be ready. Right away, when he saw me at my blue buff, I caught him at my blue buff before it spawned. He should have known right there, back out, this team knows what they're doing. But he didn't. See, people have this urge to keep doing what they're doing. You know, you're farming in a game, and the team says, I need ganks, I need ganks. You just want to keep farming. You're doing red buff, you want to keep farming and finish it off before you go and gank, even if you need to gank right now. And Alistar wanted to invade. He wanted to beat me in a show of skill and force. And even though I beat him over and over again at his own game, he is just like a boulder rolling downhill. He just has to keep going. He has to keep going the same way. That's all he knew. And so you can really beat up poor junglers by just taking advantage of their belief that they're better than you. And so that's really what happened with Alistar here. I hope this helped you all. And yeah, feel free to subscribe or message me on SoloMid. That's fine. Thank you for watching.